Welcome to the 2022 MassChallenge HealthTech Finale, celebrating bold entrepreneurs who are fearlessly innovating healthcare. My name is Erika Lozano, and I'm the Director of Operations for the Challenge programs at MassChallenge. This year, HealthTech welcomed 24 startups from 4 different countries and 6 different states. Nearly half of the companies were minority-led, and more than 2/3 were female-founded. Reflective of the problems that many are facing in the healthcare industry today, some of the top challenge areas for this year's cohort included health equity, mental and behavioral health, and chronic disease management. You'll hear some stories born out of the HealthTech program today, and if you feel inspired to get involved or learn more, please visit us at the link below. I want to extend a huge thank you to our challenge and community partners for making this program possible, to our very dedicated and busy mentors for volunteering their time and expertise through one-on-one and group mentoring, and of course, to our startups for investing their often limited time to our program and making the most out of this opportunity and driving towards meaningful results. Thank you. This year, we also launched Pandemic X, our collaboration with the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, to source and support startups working to eliminate disparities and tackle drivers of inequities exacerbated by COVID-19. You'll hear later from Stefan Koya, the HHS leader at Pandemic X, and 3 of the startups on what it was like to participate in the inaugural and first of its kind effort. It has been such a pleasure working with all of you over the last 6 months, and it's been truly inspiring to see the growth and development of this year's cohort. The power of community is clearly integral in the work that we do. This is evident in what we accomplished in this past year. Since January, we've generated 13 enterprise-ready partnerships, facilitated over 45 introductions with startups in our global investor network, and leveraged the support of more than 70 mentors. It is clear that the appetite to transform our world's health systems continue to spark the critical connections that nourish and sustain our ecosystem. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce Rachel Grimaldi, co-founder and CEO of CardMedic, a MassChallenge HealthTech 2022 startup, and Mimi Dunn from Brigham Women's Hospital, a MassChallenge partner, for our first Fireside Chat.
Hi, Rachel. I'm Mimi Dunn here, Innovation and Operations Analyst at the Brigham Digital Innovation Hub. So just kind of getting back to the beginning of our relationship with CardMedic, what were you looking for when you applied to MassChallenge, and what type of, a hospital or institution were you looking to work with?
Yeah. Hi, Mimi. Thank you so much. I'm really excited to have this chat. So, when we applied to MassChallenge, so we did MassChallenge last year. We did the early stage accelerator last year and loved it. And when the opportunity came to apply for the HealthTech accelerator, we absolutely jumped at the chance. And when we saw that it was working with hospitals in Boston, particularly Brigham and Women's Hospital, Mass Gen, that kind of population of patients, we were absolutely over the moon. What we really wanted was the opportunity to work with an innovative hospital that works with a really diverse population of patients, because for people who don't know, CardMedic is an app that helps overcome communication barriers in healthcare, like foreign language, deafness, blindness, cognitive problems, and literacy issues. So our main focus is reducing health inequalities secondary to communication barriers. So we were really, really hoping when we applied that we'd have the opportunity to work with yourselves, because you cover both of those kind of stratospheres really well, the innovation side and the working with a diverse population and having a big focus on reducing health inequalities side. So we were really hoping to be able to work with yourselves to learn about the patient population that you work with, to learn how the structure of your hospital works in terms of adopting innovation, rolling out innovation. Those are the kind of key aims. And the fact that we're working towards a pilot together now is just a huge piece of icing on the cake for us, and something we're really, really excited about. And if I may ask, kind of in reverse, because you've obviously been doing MassChallenge for a long time, what was it that you were looking for in a company through this latest cohort? What kind of caught your eye about us, I suppose?
Great question. So I think kind of the biggest thing, what we look for is, it's really important for us to have a clinical champion, which is someone who is going to support the application, who's a physician or a nurse or someone in hospital leadership who's going to bring the pilot forward and be able to get that clinical buy-in. So that's probably the biggest thing that we look for when we look for the startups. And we also kind of look to see what's realistic to do either within the realm of the 5 months of MassChallenge, or maybe kind of like what we're doing. We're extending our relationship a bit afterwards, since we just got the information security approved a little bit afterwards. So to see what's realistic. And then, when we were doing the initial judging and we saw CardMedic, we thought, oh, this is something that's like realistic, that's doable. And I think we have a good clinical champion for it. So it just kind of checked all our boxes. A lot of the times we have to think practically too. It's way too complex to do some sort of epic integration with a MassChallenge type startup.
Yeah, definitely. And I think Drew has been an absolutely phenomenal clinical champion. He's really rallied. He's got everyone on board. And from your point of view, I mean, we seem to have accomplished a lot, I feel, in a 5-month period, with presenting to the DIG, the Digital Health Innovation Group, doing the info security clearance, and then with Drew kind of getting together all his clinical colleagues and being the champion behind it. Do you feel, from your perspective, that there have been any particular challenges on your side, or do you think that we're kind of on task, running to time?
I'd say kind of, there's no project that goes without its challenges. So I think kind of two of our main challenges was, one, just the information security review is so robust that it really takes a long time to get through it. And so that's definitely a positive. And then another one is just gaining the clinical buy-in, because they are testing some translator apps in the ED. So just getting the approval to be able to use this one for a small pilot was another challenge we ran into, but we ultimately ended up getting approval, and our chief information officer is excited to see how it all turns out.
Yeah, definitely. And I was so grateful for that, because we're not, as you know, we're not there to replace those services. We're just there to be a solution when a translator isn't available, for example. So yeah, we were absolutely thrilled. I feel like you've all worked so well together as a team, and you're really behind the vision for CardMedic as well. And everyone, we really all want it to work together. So I've been really grateful for your support. I feel like we've definitely achieved a lot in a really short space of time, and we're really happy to continue this relationship and see how the pilot goes. And I think when we're speaking to other hospitals as well, for us to say that we're doing MassChallenge and that we're working with yourselves, it has so much weight and gravitas to it. So we've just come back from a week at Texas Medical Center, and which was brilliant. But saying to people that we're working with Brigham and Women's was just so powerful. So yeah, we're just really grateful for the opportunity as well. So yeah, from one last question I wanted to ask is, do you have any advice for kind of future partners or startups that they could undertake to kind of maximize their opportunity with future partners for MassChallenge? I've got a few thoughts, but I'd love to hear yours first.
I think definitely it's just kind of important to, be super proactive, because, we do get busy, but it's like, what can we do in terms of the partner's perspective, the partner, like, what can we do to help? Or, let's put together a growth plan. If we were to continue working together in the future, or, this is what I think a 5-year partnership would look like if we were to do something. Or we've put together some tip sheets for the emergency department so they can do those. So just kind of, always kind of going that extra mile and being ready and anticipating questions or, requests that we might have from our side is really important. And it's also, important, especially in a health system, to just be patient. If you have anything to add, Rachel, please do.
Yeah, definitely. I echo that massively. I mean, I'm an anesthesiologist, I work in healthcare, and I know the other side of kind of selling into healthcare. You're absolutely right. It's just that patience, everything takes time, whether it's piloting, whatever it might be. And, obviously working on clinically as well, I know everything always takes a bit longer than you expect. But yeah, I think absolutely the more you put in, the more you get out. And it's just going that extra mile, making that effort, being responsive quickly to any questions that come up. Or if you think this is going to take a bit longer, giving a realistic time frame, this is going to take me a week or two, and then I can turn it around. But yeah, I think just making the most of the opportunity. It's a phenomenal opportunity, and an amazing a chance to have this partnership. And so just to try and make the most and going to get the most out of it, keep the lines of communication open. I feel we've worked really well together. I've really, really enjoyed it. Really look forward to our weekly meetings as well. So yeah, excited for it to continue.
Me too. I'm excited for it to
fab.
continue and for our pilot to pan out and see how that works out.
Yeah, definitely. Well, thank you so much for making the time to chat.
Yeah, thank you, Rachel.
Really, really enjoyed it.
And thanks, MassChallenge community. It's been a pleasure working with you all.
Hello, everyone. My name is Angel Mercado. I'm the Partnerships Manager here at MassChallenge HealthTech. Our program will not be possible without the continued support of partners and collaborators like Brigham and Women's Hospital and others, some of which you will hear from today. We so appreciate your eagerness to engage with and learn from our startups. Let's continue to hear about the successful relationships that were formed throughout the MassChallenge HealthTech 2022 cohort.
We at Terras believe that nowadays the most successful way to achieve our goal to offer innovative, easy to use and sustainable products is to adopt an open strategy based on innovation ecosystems. In this sense, becoming a community partner of the 2022 MassChallenge HealthTech program gave us a unique opportunity to engage with the stakeholders of the Boston ecosystem. The role of MassChallenge has been critical for us in making introduction to the most fitting opportunities, in building trust among partners, and ultimately in creating an international high-impact innovation network. It was truly impressive getting to know how much disruptive innovation is being created around digital health for the treatment of chronic diseases. Thanks to this partnership with MassChallenge, we had the opportunity to establish a connection with Managing Life. Tahir and his team are on a mission to lower the cost of chronic pain management and to improve patients' lives through their digital solution. We believe their ability to understand and satisfy the needs of people with chronic pain is unique, and perhaps this is the #1 reason why it works. Let me end by congratulating all the 2022 cohort startups. Keep up the good work, guys.
Well, hello, and welcome to everyone who's joining us today. My name is Stefan Kanya, and I serve as a Senior Advisor and Innovation Portfolio Lead for the Office of the National Coordinator for Health IT, which is located within the Health and Human Services Agency of the federal government. I'm excited today because we get to showcase just a few, 3 rock stars that are part of the Pandemic X cohort, which is an amazing organization of startups that were selected through a very rigorous process to help address some of the biggest challenges that federal agencies like ONC and OASH and CDC and CMS and many other acronymed agencies, FDA, et cetera, all identified as being some of the most pressing issues of our time and where we needed to see greater innovation. And these 15 startups were the ones that were selected to get into the program with Pandemic X. And I'm excited to talk to them today about a little bit of reflections on what it's like as they're getting ready to graduate from this cohort. So with today, with us, we have Bettina Hein with Julie. We also have Dr. Moyo with Welfie. And then we also have Mike with Carium. So I'd like to go ahead and turn it over to each of them. Bettina, we'll go ahead and start with you. If you could just say a little bit about yourself and your company.
Sure. I'm Bettina Hein, and I'm the founder and CEO of Julie. Julie is a chronic condition platform that helps patients and their caregivers manage their conditions. By background, I am a lifelong tech entrepreneur. All of my companies have taken large amounts of data and applied AI to them to optimize for a certain outcome. My first 2 companies were over $100 million in valuation. And so I'm hoping to take this experience and achieve something big for people with chronic conditions.
Great, thank you, Bettina. And Mike, why don't you go next?
Hi, I'm Mike Hatfield, founder of Carium, and we're a virtual care platform that's really focused on the patient at the center, the person at the center, understanding exactly what's going on with them and helping them on their particular journey. So it could be, we've done things in terms of cardiac rehab or obesity, hypertension, and really connecting that person who has that particular journey they're on to their care team. We've been able to have really great outcomes with that in terms of improvement in A1C and blood pressure. And the kind of groups that we've helped are health systems, pharma, and even small practices as well. So I'm glad to be here today.
Great, thank you, Mike. And up next, certainly, last but not least, is Dr. Stephen Moy with Wealthy. Steve.
Hi, pleasure to be here. I'm Dr. Stephen Moyo, CEO and founder of Wealthy. Wealthy is a family health platform. We focus on reaching families of color as well as families on Medicaid. And our goal is really to help them navigate a complex care health system. What people can do on Wealthy is to take a wellness selfie so they can get an understanding of their health through this snapshot. And based on that health profile, we're connecting them with health education to improve health literacy, as well as care coordination to make sure they can get access to affordable care. And we're working primarily with K-12 school districts to not only address school health, but connect with their families and address family health as well. So really a pleasure to be here and think about how we can impact the health of American families across the nation.
Outstanding. Thank you very much, Dr. Moya. Well, I've been extremely fortunate to have the opportunity to interact closely with all of you and the others that have been part of the cohort over the past several months, and learn about your businesses, learn about you as individuals and your passions and how it brought you to starting these companies. But I'd also like to learn a little bit more, something we maybe haven't had a chance to talk too much about. We've touched on it a few times. But maybe what were some of the highlights that you had from participating over these past several months in Pandemic X? It could be, something related to a connection you made or some information you learned or any of the events you participated in. Just curious, what were some of the highlights for you in being part of this program over these past 6 months? And we'll start with Bettina.
Well, there's a lot I could mention. Obviously, first of all, the great cohort. By osmosis, you're learning from the others, from the questions they're asking, from what they're sharing about their companies, and learning from how they're pitching their companies, etc. So I really loved getting to meet everybody. And then, a whole world opened itself for me, at least, with everything that we heard from HHS. In my prior companies, I had not really sold to the government ever. And so this was like a really sort of high-powered course on everything that you have to offer. And everybody at HHS has been just so generous with their time and giving us the information that we need.
Thank you, Bettina. Dr. Moya?
Yeah, I think, Bettina mentioned actually something that I think was really powerful, which was this ability to, I almost think of it like holding a telescope up to the future and bringing in this view of what your future of your company can be. We're a startup and working with government has been on our roadmap, but it's something that, I told my team, this is something we would think about 4 or 5 years in the future, right? Once we build, we scale. But this was really an opportunity to get up close and personal with the divisions and different parts of government that are impacting population and public health across the US, and understanding how companies can work with them. And also the innovation that's happening in government that we don't also hear about often. So I think that has been a fantastic experience because it empowers, CEOs like myself to be able to talk to our employees, to talk to our family, friends, talk to our investors and customers about the real things that we can do at a national scale if we plan right and if we partner with government. I think the other opportunity that I really enjoyed was the opportunity to pitch and talk with the White House, the Office of Science and Technology Policy. We were one of the companies selected to do that and to talk about community connected health. That is the core of what we do, and to be able to think deeply about that and how we wanted to represent that to the highest office in the nation was really exciting. And then just once again, to echo Bettina, to see everybody else's perspective on the very same topic and how all these different companies really came at it from a different angle. And the combination of what we brought together was more powerful than any, I think, one single perspective. So I think that was a really great experience as well.
Great, thank you. Mike and Carrion.
Yeah, I reflect what both Dr. Moyo and Bettina had said, that it was that full view of all that was happening, as you were talking about, Stefan, the acronym soup. Like, we got to talk to everybody. And when you see that in that totality, you see how much innovation is being focused on inside of all of those groups. And that was inspiring to me because I just didn't realize that it was almost every group we talked to had some kind of innovation dimension to what they were doing. And so that was very inspiring to see that, hey, that it's recognized that we can, in fact, bring technology into these solutions, and it's welcome, and there's a focus on it. And then I also like to reflect on a specific one, which was we had a conversation with CMMI, one of the acronyms. And what was really helpful to me was understanding how they're thinking about payment models. And that was really insightful, because when someone who's looking at that innovation and says, look, we are no longer focused on that on fee-for-service types of innovation. We're putting all of our energy towards value-based models. Well, that's a pretty strong statement, and it's something that was really valuable, as Dr. Moya said, to be able to share that with others. Hey, look, this is where this is going, and so much of that payment model innovation happens at the government level and then moves its way into the private sector. And so that was, to me, it was incredibly valuable to see that insight and sort of that telescoping effect that Dr. Moya mentioned.
Thank you all for your time. I hope you enjoyed this panel as much as I did. And again, congratulations to the entire MassChallenge HealthTech, Pandemic X, and FinTech cohorts on your graduation in today's finale, and look forward to all the success of your companies in the future.
I'm Ramesh Kumar. I'm CEO, co-founder of Zaki Point Health. We are a alumni of the MassChallenge HealthTech program. Then we moved on to do the Scale-Up program more recently. It has been a great experience. It's connections we've made, the connections to the broader ecosystem in the past, learning more about the customers, the prospects, and the problems they are facing and how to pitch to them. But also more recently, the mentors we've had through the kind of Scale-Up program. They have been great. In fact, they've come on board to help us go beyond as well. So the experience has been great, and actually that has motivated me to be a mentor in the program going forward as well, and I'm looking forward to helping other companies. I get a lot of joy out of that, to see other entrepreneurs flourish. And so I want to congratulate the 2022 cohort, and good luck with the journey. It's not just the end, it's just the beginning.
Hey Molly.
Hey.
Great to see you.
Nice to see you too.
How you doing?
Good. It's the first time we're meeting in person. Just crazy after so many virtual videos. Good to be here.
Here we are. It's amazing.
I heard you caught up with Mark last night?
I did. Yeah. Dr. Mark Clapp and I, we got dinner. It was awesome being back at MGH after I was his med student a couple years ago.
That's right. Yeah.
It's just surreal being back there with him after all this lockdown and everything, but it was grateful to be there, and really grateful for his mentorship, because he's been amazing. Like, from you guys and
he's
from
such
before.
a champion.
He really is. He really is. And he sees the future of obstetrics and shares our vision for a world in which we can really support his patients and patients around the world with the predictive algorithms that we're building. Yeah. So we've just been super lucky to find him through you all as a partner and as a clinical champion for what we're building.
Yeah, it's amazing to see the history that's there between Delphina and Mass General, and with our role at the Center for Innovation in Digital Healthcare, we really are there to support our innovators and our researchers. And it's the best case scenario when we can make meaningful connections with early stage startups, especially through MassChallenge. It's been a great partner to us for several years now, and we're always really excited to meet the next class of entrepreneurs, and got really lucky this year through that organic connection. And it's been a great experience, and excited to talk more about it today.
Yeah, for sure. It's so funny that you all were just like 3 floors above where I did my PhD.
That's right.
At 50 Stanford. So it's such a small world, but I think it's amazing what you all have built at MGH, because we've been talking to a variety of large hospital and healthcare systems, and I think with CIDH we were just so grateful to be paired through MassChallenge with you all, because you really helped us navigate and connect with a lot of really interesting folks that, frankly, even though I was at MGH for 13, 14 years, since undergrad, I was doing research there, I would have never known that they were there and had so many helpful insights to share.
Yeah, so we've been around since 2019, so we're relatively young, of course, with our large history and background that you're so familiar with at Mass General. But it's been great to really build that support around digital health specifically at Mass General, and we've been able to succeed in this space, and it's been great. So maybe you could talk a little bit about the insights. So we introduced you to Dr. Joe Kovidar and some other folks in our team, including Yuri Ostrovsky and Sarah Salachi, but maybe you could talk a little bit about those learnings.
Yeah, it was great connecting with them. And Dr. Kvidar in particular had some really great insights to share, as he's been on the forefront of a lot of the digital health innovation that's been happening, from telehealth to dermatologic innovation to pathology and radiology, cardiology.
Yeah.
So learning from these other verticals and how he's basically brought in these innovations that are now actually helping y'all's patients at MGH. It's been really cool to see that and to learn from him how we can, at this early stage at Delphina, set ourselves up for success. So in a future world, we're able to similarly help patients like that.
Yeah.
In particular, given how, like at MGB now with the whole system, right, you all have like almost rural community clinics and the OB floors at MGH.
Yep.
And we're building these predictive algorithms today and building this product eventually that's going to serve patients in all these settings.
Yeah.
So when we think about that, what Dr. Kvedar shared is to make sure that, we're making sure from the get-go our data sets are representative and we're incorporating these diverse patients served in different settings into the data set that builds the algorithm. And then also on the other end, making sure we engage with not just amazing maternal fetal medicine specialists like Dr. Clapp, but the folks that are delivering care throughout the system, including certified nurse midwives at these other facilities. And that's going to lead to a much stronger and more representative product.
Yeah, that's great to hear. And it's been really nice to make those connections with you. And, we also made some connections with our Silicon Valley friends out there at a venture capital firm that we're close with, and they were able to take a closer look to your go-to-market approach. And it's been great to make those connections internal to CIDH with our broader MGB network, and then out with our venture friends out there in Silicon Valley. And so grateful that we've been able to have that opportunity to connect with them. And I think just to highlight some of the things that I've appreciated to learn about you and kind of learn around your approach is that, early on we talked a lot about our short-term goals as well as our long-term goals, which has been great to kind of think about the long-term pathways between, Delphina and Mass General, what it could look like beyond the MassChallenge, 6-month program. And so it's been really fun to kind of explore those pathways. And I know you've made some great traction with Mark and the OB clinic at Mass General. So excited to see kind of where that goes. And the other thing that you've done so great at is really being a team that we are so proud to introduce to our network. So you really do your research to really research who you're speaking to. You're really kind of molding your objectives to kind of that person, and then you're so grateful for their time. So it makes us excited to expand our network. So I guess a few minutes left here. What are you excited about beyond MassChallenge is coming to a close now and with this finale? So would love to hear kind of what you see as a potential moving forward.
Thanks for saying that, Molly. I really appreciate it. And right back at you all, I think, it's rare to find partners who really see the world the same way. And I think with you all, we really felt like, MGH is one of the top research hospitals on earth, and you all have this appreciation for clinically validating algorithms and deeply understanding the data science that goes into these innovations.
Yeah.
And we really felt that over the last 6 months working with you, particularly at CIDH, and that's really permeated throughout the hospital. So looking to the future, we're really excited to keep learning from you all, really excited to learn from you all, and to explore ways that we can continue to innovate in partnership going forward.
Yeah, we look forward to it, and appreciate your understanding and your kind of perspective of that clinical rigor and research. It's been a commonality between our organizations, but look forward to championing you for the rest of the program and going forward.
Thank you so much, Molly. Good to see you too.
Hi, everyone. My name is Amanda Zadian. I'm the product manager of digital health strategy at the American Medical Association. And we are so proud to partner with MassChallenge HealthTech. We have been for years, helping to facilitate these critical connections that really help to build better technology. The reason that we have partnered with MassChallenge HealthTech is because we believe that we need to partner with the industry in order to help make technology an asset and not a burden for the physicians that are within our membership. And that takes everybody. We have found that the companies that are within this current cohort, the companies that have been in the past cohort, and I'm hoping the many more to come, all need to work together and get feedback earlier and more often in the process of developing their solution. And that really only comes because you're building relationships with people that have perspectives that can speak into what you're building. And so we are happy to partner from a physician innovation network perspective and provide that platform as a way for you to connect with physicians, care teams, patients, academics, investors, and many more as part of your membership with MassChallenge HealthTech. We invite you to join if you haven't already, and we're excited to see what you build. Congratulations to the class of 2022. We're so excited to see what you do.
So, Chaz, it's been wonderful working with you, having you as my mentor. I think you're probably the first mentor of color that I've had working with on a longer term, so I was really excited about that opportunity. So what has it been like working with me? I'm going to throw the question to you first.
Okay, good for you. Oh, is this a cold call?
I know, right?
Yeah. So I really enjoy working with you, and it's just some backdrop. I've mentored a lot of different companies and CEOs. Maybe in the last year and a half, I should count it up, but maybe it's probably been over a dozen, and maybe more so informally, formally. When we first met, besides the business you're doing and the mission you're on, which is just really compelling, there's a certain vibe and energy I picked up from you. Also a purposeful intention. I almost said intensity, but no, intention about what you're doing. Yeah, no, not intense. It's like that style I call a laid back intensity.
Yeah.
It's like that common, that thread. So yeah, it's been wonderful. I'm learning a lot working with you as well. So appreciate that.
Thank you.
Let me turn it back over to you. How's it been working with you?
Great. I love that. So I was, again, very excited. Was not sure what to expect, right, when we started working together, but I really appreciated your commitment to supporting my mission. You're always available, and if you're not, you let me know ahead of time. And I think what has been most valuable is me coming in and trying to have a mental health tech company and not really have the tech background. And you've been very patient, I would say, kind of guiding me through. I love the suggestion you said, let's whiteboard this, right? Bringing your engineering mind to this, and having that meeting at the MassChallenge office a couple months ago, and really taking me through the steps has been so, I think, helpful for me, transformative. Yesterday I was working on trying to map out what this might look like as an app. So I think that process really, again, highlighted your commitment to my vision. And, there were times where I had doubts, like, is this really, is this the path to go? And without a doubt, you're like, yeah, you're on the right track. So it just really inspired me. And, I've had different experiences where my ideas weren't necessarily believed or supported. And I just really appreciate the unconditional support that you've given me.
Maybe you can give us maybe 15-second soundbite of what InnoPsych's all about, because I think for the audience.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. So our goal is to really disrupt racial inequities in mental health. And one of the things that have really been inspired to do is to really focus on a piece that's not really talked about a lot, is the impact of racial stress on mental health and well-being. And so my goal is to work with organizations to really improve the emotional well-being, retention, and just the work cultures of today's companies. And so one of those is really being able to develop an app and a tech platform that can support those initiatives. So I'm really excited. I think some of the recent community events have really, again, inspired me and pushed me to continue this work. Sometimes I'm not sure if it's a little too radical, but it's so needed. So so thank you for your undying support around this mission.
So this goes back to the actual thing you're working on, why I got basically personally locked on, is that it just feels like you're doing and solving a problem, first recognizing it, racial stress, which is not really talked about, especially in the workplace. There's bias, which is more, empirical. But the stress part and what it does to a person, I think helping folks get through that's really important. I work for a large organization and I volunteer a lot. But it's that, what do you do about it? As the recipient of bias, or either explicit or implicit, it's pretty subtle, how you get at that. So it's it's a class A problem, to actually try to crack. Yeah.
It is. And I think naming it is, I think, important. So one other question before we wrap up. I think one question that is really, I think, helpful for folks is thinking about what are some, I guess, best practices or advice we have for future mentor-mentee relationships. And I think I would say one from the very, I think, out front, I bring my identity into the space. And so we talked about being a founder of color. You've also been a founder. And so I think, and mentoring founders of color, I think that's something that we were explicit about. Also having opportunities to talk about what's working for each meeting. We talked about what were some things that went well, what were some things that didn't go well. So for me, that feedback is really helpful, and it helps to address problems if there are problems right away. So those are some things I would suggest for future founders or mentors and mentees. What other advice you have?
I think it's important for mentors, and this might sound kind of glib, but to listen a lot. It's also the empathy. When I was first, jumping in as mentors and pretending I was a good advisor, I'd try to jump to solutions, to help solve the founder's problem. But that's not so much mentorship. Mentorship coaching is the listening and then figure out ways to possibly thread the needle, but don't really impart my own ideas too strongly. And for sure, leave your ego at the door as a mentor.
Yeah. No, I love that. And I think you've been extremely generous. Just some of the things you've helped me to create or think about, and articles you've shared, and things you've built to show me to really how to think about InnoPsych has really been, again, I think you went above and beyond what was called, and I really appreciate that. And so again, really wish we could have done this in person, and hopefully we'll get to connect at some point. But I truly, truly appreciate all that you've done and supported me in this journey.
MassChallenge is thankful to you all, whether you're a startup, mentor, challenge, or community partner, for your participation in the MassChallenge 2022 HealthTech Challenge program. As you can see, numerous critical connections were formed throughout this year's cohort. These relationships encouraged expertise to be shared between startups and their partners and mentors, which has assisted in the further development of their businesses. It has been such a pleasure working with you all over the last 6 months, and it's been inspiring to see the growth of the MassChallenge HealthTech startups. We hope that the relationships you are able to build through the challenge program will propel your startup businesses forward to continue to create and generate a positive impact. To our partners, thank you for your continued support. And to the MassChallenge 2022 cohort, welcome to the MassChallenge alumni community. Thank you all.